Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I thank the distinguished chairman of the Intelligence Committee for his leadership on protecting the American people. In addition to being chair of the Intelligence Committee, he has served for many years on the Armed Services Committee. He brings to his position on intelligence the commitment that we all have to protecting the American people, to building a strong military second to none to do that, to protect the American people. He knows that force protection is one of the main priorities of intelligence, to protect our forces, and when they are in harm's way, to make sure they have the intelligence to prevail. Mr. Speaker, the new direction Congress has made strengthening national security and improving America's intelligence capabilities a top priority. It is our major responsibility to protect the American people. Our very first piece of legislation, H.R. 1, took the bipartisan 9/11 Commission recommendations off the shelf, as they had been in the Republican Congress, and put them into law to better protect the American people. We then began our efforts to strengthen America's military, the readiness of which has been greatly depleted by the President's failed Iraq policy. To restore our military strength, we have expanded the size of the Army and Marine Corps, passed legislation insisting that only fully mission-capable forces be deployed, funded essential equipment including armored Humvees. Mr. Speaker, America's security depends on the strength of our military, as we all know, but also the quality of information gathered and analysis provided by the 16 intelligence agencies that make up our nation's intelligence community. As someone who has served on the House Intelligence Committee now as a member and ex officio for 16 years, longer than anyone in the Congress, I understand that policymakers in Congress and in the executive branch must be able to rely on accurate, timely, and actionable intelligence. That is why this intelligence authorization bill invests in human intelligence, counterterrorism operations, and analysis. It is a critical step in protecting our nation, and the President should have signed it into law. Regrettably, President Bush vetoed these critical investments in our intelligence capabilities because this legislation extended the Army Field Marshal's prohibition on torture to intelligence community personnel. The prohibition on torture that the President vetoed protected our values, protected American military and diplomatic personnel, and protected Americans by ensuring accurate intelligence. Our nation is on a stronger ground ethically and morally when our practices for holding and interrogating captives are consistent with the Geneva Conventions, when we do not torture. In the words of retired Rear, we all have our views here about intelligence gathering, analysis, and dissemination. And again, much of the focus is on force protection. So I look to the words of those who have served in the military for their view on this subject. In the words of retired Rear Admiral Donald Guter, a former Navy Judge Advocate General, he says, "There is no disconnect between human rights and national security. They are synergistic. One doesn't work without the other for very long." Failing to legally prohibit the use of waterboarding and other harsh torture techniques also risks the safety of our soldiers and other Americans serving overseas. In a letter to the Congressional Intelligence Committee Chairman, 30 retired generals and admirals, including General Joseph Hoar, the former head of the U.S. Central Command. The Central Command is the command that oversees our military activities in the Iraq region, that Middle East and the greater Middle East area. Those 30 retired generals and admirals, looking again to the voices of those who have led in the military, quote, "We believe it is vital to the safety of our men and women in uniform that the United States not sanction the use of interrogation methods it would find acceptable if inflicted by the enemy against captured Americans." Many military officials and intelligence professionals have also stated that torture is ineffective It is unlikely to produce the kind of timely and reliable information needed to disrupt terrorist plots. I want to reinforce the message of my colleague, the Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, in quoting the words of General David Petraeus. As Mr. Hoyer just stated, but I think it bears repeating, the words of General David Petraeus. Some may argue that we would be more effective if we sanctioned torture or other expedient methods to obtain information from the enemy. That would be wrong, General Petraeus said. He went on, beyond the basic fact that such actions are illegal, history shows that they are frequently neither useful nor necessary. These leading military men and women and those of us who supported this legislation's ban on torture believe that we can and we must protect America while preserving our country's deeply held principles. In the final analysis, our ability to lead the world will depend not only on our military might, but also on our moral authority. Today, we can begin to reassert that moral authority by overriding the President's veto. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Michigan.
This time